Happy Black History Month! Hey, Black is beautiful. I got this from Target last year. Girl, Target is trying to get my black dollars, okay? Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé Season 8, Episode 9, No Bang Theory. That's an interesting title. I imagine the only couple that they are talking about is Stephanie and Ryan, and we will definitely get into that weird yuck buck situation. For those of you guys who don't know, I have revived my original YouTube channel, the channel Wahima Lino. I am reviving it from the grave. It's a channel that I started in 2007, and I've taken down or privated a lot of the videos that were on there that was previous Wah. I don't want you guys to look at them and have me say something crazy in them, girl, because I don't know what I said in those videos. The channel is going to be about my SMBC journey, which is single mother by choice, and all of the hiccups that have come to the surface after I have decided to have a child. Turns out I have fibroids, and a lot of them. So if you guys would like to follow me on this journey, please go on over to Wahima Lino and subscribe and watch the first video. I gotta get that channel monetized, you know what I'm saying? If you're not interested in it personally, please pass it along to someone who might be. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video on any social media platform that you deem fit. Let's start out with the driest and longest. First couple is going to be Natalie and Mike. Mike is helping his mother, Trish, pack. It is time for her to go back to Oklahoma. And when Mike asks her how she feels about Natalie, Trish says that Natalie is a nice enough gal, but she is worried about her intentions. Like, what's her real reasoning for wanting to come to the United States? And Mike shakes his head like he doesn't know. I don't know if it's a concern for him. I don't know if he's spoken to her about this in the past, but it seems odd that he now doesn't really understand what Natalie's intentions are. And the one overarching theme that I felt about their segment this week is, what is Mike doing? Why isn't he just going with his gut? Why is he having himself and Natalie in limbo? And for the first time, I understand Natalie's frustration. Mike says that there is no rush for him to give the ring back, but he went on ahead and set a wedding date. So I don't quite understand what his thought process is. Trish says that she believes because he doesn't want to give the ring back, that he's still very hurt, and that causes her pause, and she would like for him to really think about what he's doing. But at the end of the day, she says that he's a grown man and he has to go through this situation on his own and make decisions that are best for him. The next scene we have with Mike and Natalie is they are sitting down for dinner, and Natalie's like, "Can we pray? Let's pray." And so Mike is like, okay. So he bows his head, I guess, and she puts her hands together, bows her head, and starts to rattle off a prayer in Ukrainian. It sounds like Russian, but I guess it's Ukrainian. Natalie brings up the subject of the wedding, and she wants to know specifically what the budget is. And Mike says $2750. And she starts to giggle and laugh and be like, no, for real, what's the budget? And he does not want to talk about the wedding. He says that they have time to talk about the wedding and that he really just wants a small ceremony, and so he doesn't understand why they need to talk about it. And she's like, well, I still need to plan. I need to know the budget so that I know how many people I'm allowed to invite. I have to know what's going on. And he's like, it's too early for that. Mike says that they need to get to know each other better, that they have to spend more quality time together. So their next scene is they go hiking, and Mike starts to criticize her because she's wearing makeup on their hike. And Natalie gets upset and is unable to explain to him what's going on, and so she just gets silent while they're in the car. She tries to hold his hand, and he complains that her hands are too sticky because she's added lotion on. And she says, Mike, all I did was put on a little lip gloss and some eyeliner. I mean, it looks like she did a little bit more than that, but still, what is the big deal? Mike is really starting to feel a certain ways about Natalie and her time here in the US, and it's evident and we understand why, but it feels like he's coming off a bit childish. They finally get to the place where they're going hiking, and Natalie runs up to a tree and starts to kiss it, but it turns out she explains that she was actually smelling it and she just loves nature. And Mike was acting like he was embarrassed to be with her, that she was just being weird. She was being a little childish. At some point she started to like skip and jump. I love hiking, it's very healthy. She's in rain boots, which I understand why she's in rain boots, but honey, hiking in rain boots? No, girl. You guys aren't going for a hike. You guys are going for a walk. And then at some point she asks him to flip her, and God bless him, Mike flips that woman, and all I am is envious. Like, can I get a man that's tall enough to flip me? That was such a whimsical moment. I'm grown and I want somebody to flip me. Their next scene, Natalie has decided that she is finally gonna unpack because there's a wedding date. She feels like there is a reason to kind of start grounding herself and setting some roots. So she's in the closet hanging up her clothes and she cannot stand the smell. So she comes out and she says, Mike, can we go to the store and get some things for the closet to make it smell better? And he's like, yeah, let's go to the store. We gotta get some stuff anyway. So they hop in the car and they go to the store and they end up going inside some little like antique boutique. She asks specifically for like a freshener, and the woman takes her over to a bureau, and on top of it has some like, you know, room fresheners, which, oh girl, I love a room freshener. And she starts to spray it, and Natalie puts her entire face in that spray, and she's like, it smells so good. Natalie is so dramatic sometimes. Listen, I'm dramatic, but Natalie, like, she wins an award. The saleswoman asks Natalie where she's from. Natalie explains to her and then starts to talk about the fact that she's on a K-1 visa, which to me was a little bit unnecessary, but I saw where Natalie was going with that. The saleswoman ends up asking about the wedding and what they're planning, and Natalie again is like, I don't know. And Mike is like, listen, I'm not about to sit up here and have this conversation with this stranger. And before he leaves, he makes sure to pick up 2 carafes in which alcohol should be poured into, which he knows is going to bother her. So this is what I'm saying. They're both being very childish, but Mike this episode won the baby childish competition, if that's what they were having. He's saying, let's go down, sign some papers, and then we can have the wedding later. If she already knows that Mike doesn't want a wedding, he just wants to go sign some papers and then have a wedding later, she really is doing too much. But it's great for the cameras. That's the end of their segment, and let's move on to the next couple. The next couple that we are going to talk about is Andrew and Amira. At this point, I just need Amira to come into her own, okay? Sis needs to get over Andrew and move on. And I don't know if a dream to come to the United States is overriding her natural senses, but Andrew is not the person for her. So the first scene we have with Amira is her getting ready to FaceTime with Andrew, who is still on vacation, and Amira has a problem with the fact that he is still on vacation having a good old time while she is stuck back in France, upset and sad. They have a FaceTime where Andrew proposes that she goes to Serbia, waits in Serbia for 14 days, and then books travel to the US. He believes that this is a way to get around the US travel ban for coronavirus. And he's willing to put her out there again, send her to Serbia alone. He says that he can't go to Serbia because he needs to get back to work. Amira is not comfortable with this. So the whole time she's talking with him, she's just kind of, so obvious that she's not into this, but she really wants to prove her love for Andrew for some reason. And the thing is though, I keep forgetting that they've actually met in person several times. So it's not like she is unaware of how he is as a human being in real life. She has to know that she is by far probably the hottest and prettiest thing that he's ever going to get on this face of this planet. Maybe she's just like a nerd on the inside. Maybe she doesn't realize her majesty. On the other hand, I do understand that Andrew's going to lose money on this, because if he doesn't get her to the US within the 31 days that they have left on their visa, he will have wasted all of this money on the K-1 visa process, not knowing if they're going to extend her visa, give her another opportunity, not knowing if they're going to extend her visa or make him start the process all over again. So it's just like, okay, girl, if you're willing to deal with this person all for your dream of going to America, I'm gonna let a grown-ass woman do what she wants. The next couple is Jovi and Yara. Jovi has just come home from work, and apparently Jovi is not allowed to drink while he's at work. And so I guess he must not drink while he's at work. So him having that drink when he got off the plane at 8:50, I am now no longer judging him as much as I was judging him before. He says that Yara eventually got over it, and the next day they are walking around New Orleans and she sees a woman appropriating Indian culture and sits down and gets henna put on her hand. While she's getting the henna put on her hand, she tells Jovi that she has something to say to him, but she's nervous to say it. And Jovi's just sitting there like, tell me, whatever, tell me what's going on. And she's like, I'm pregnant, Jovi. And he's like, no, you're not. Very straight face. Like, he doesn't have a smile on his face. He's like, no, you're not, you're lying. And she's like, Jovi, why I lie? No, I don't like you tell me lie. I'm not lying, Jovi. I hate you. And he's like, you're lying. You've done this to me before. If you were really pregnant, you would have told me yesterday. I'm mad at you yesterday, Jovi. That's why I don't say anything. And Jovi's like, you're lying. I don't believe you. We'll take a test again. I don't even want to talk about it. And she's like, so you're not happy, Jovi? And he says, I'm happy if you are pregnant and we will manage it. But I'm not going to even entertain the fact that you are pregnant because I know you're lying. Meanwhile, the cultural appropriator is just like, later on that evening, after they come back from a night out, girl, because they're wearing a different outfit, Yara comes into the apartment, takes off her shoes, and puts her handbag on the ground. And I'm just like, oh, I can't see a handbag on the ground, especially one that's supposedly Chanel. I guess they purchase some pregnancy tests and they go into the bathroom and he watches her pee on the stick and then it comes out inconclusive. Jovi's like, I knew she wasn't pregnant. Like, I'm not gonna go through this. And Yara at this point has stopped trying to convince him and she's like, Jovi, I am pregnant. I know how it feels, Jovi. He makes her pee on a stick again, this time doing the digital test. And so they go into the bathroom, do the digital test. They come out and it says pregnant. And he has to eat crow. And she's like, I told you, Jovi. Why do you think I lie? And he's like, because you've done that before. A day later told me that it wasn't true. And she's like, no, Jovi. I told you like 10 minutes later. And Jovi's like, all right, well, I'm wrong. I am happy and we'll deal with this. You know, he isn't upset. He looks like he's pretty cool about it. And like, I liked his reaction. This is the best reaction I think he could have possibly given her. And then he asks her if she's ready. And she's like, no, I am absolutely not ready. And then she's like, Jovi, okay, so now you changed job. And he's like, no, my job can change at any moment and I'm not going to give up my job right now. We'll see in the coming months, like what happens and what my options are. And she's just like, okay. Next couple, Hazel and Tariq. The first scene with them really is nothing. All of a sudden, their governor shuts down and puts their state on lockdown for coronavirus. So the crew has to pack up and leave. And then 2 weeks later, they come back. And Hazel and Tariq have been in quarantine together for 2 weeks. They're having a glass of wine, sitting on the bed, and they are creating a profile on a special website for couples who are looking for a girlfriend. Hazel mentions that she wants a brown girl with great oral hygiene because she likes to kiss. We already know that Tariq loves a Thai girl. And I don't know if a Thai girl is gonna fall underneath the category of brown. I don't know if it means that she wants any kind of brown girl just as long as they're a darker hue of their ethnicity. I said that I'm a brown girl, so you know. So Tariq is talking to Hazel about the possibility of jealousy, wanting to hammer out the rules of what their relationships are going to be like. And Hazel doesn't quite understand what he's talking about. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why she hasn't thought about what the rules are going to be with their relationship. And so Tariq says that he's going to go with whatever it is that Hazel wants. And if they find somebody that's beautiful, they're going to jump off the diving board into the water, splish splash, taking a bath, roll around. How about a Saturday night? And move forward. And Hazel's like, I don't know what Tariq is talking about. Hazel tells us that in the Philippines, I cannot be bisexual. I feel like being in America has allowed me to be who I am. And we're just like, okay, Hazel, girl, I tell you. The one rule that Tariq sets forward is that Ari can't have any knowledge of this girlfriend at all. That this girlfriend will only come to their house when Ari is not there. They will not speak about this in front of Ari, and that she is going to be in a completely separate compartment in his brain. And I agree with that, especially because Ari is special needs. Like, you don't want to have just anybody around your kid. You feel me? I get that. So it's interesting though, because that is how Tariq has kind of managed his going to Thailand and dealing with these Thai women this entire time. And for him to bring Hazel over into his world, into this other compartment in his brain dealing with Ari, it shows you how important Hazel is to his life. Next couple is Rebecca and Zied. Okay, so now I don't know that I'm necessarily on Zied's side, but I'm all about Americans not being assholes. And in this segment, homegirl PI Melanie was being a jerk. Zied and Rebecca are unpacking one box. I need to see more than one box in this house, girl. I need you to go get your couch. Figure it out. She says she's really busy at work, and I'm just like, how busy? She's very happy to agree to cook for him. And in the next couple minutes, her friend Melanie comes over, and Rebecca's acting like it's such a surprise. No, ma'am, this was staged. Melanie comes in, and Rebecca goes and hugs Melanie and tells her she looks great. And I was like, what did she look like before? Melanie comes in, meets Zied, and immediately starts to ask him what he's doing, why he's not working, that there are businesses that he can walk to. Rebecca's like, he cannot work. Melanie's like, okay. All right, well, so you know that this is the same situation as her ex, right? You know that she lived with her ex right down the hall. And so because that went bad, everyone in her life is going to really be worried about her. And so you could see Zied get pissed off. Like, Zied has so much machismo for someone who doesn't have a steady job. It's bananas. The amount of ego and machismo that has been built into him when he has nothing is crazy to me. Melanie asks him a question, and I wonder if Zied can understand her because of his accent. She then says, your mother, how is she? Is everyone? And he's like, no, I understand. Like, let the man formulate a sentence in a language he barely speaks. Dang, Melanie. And so Rebecca's just standing next to him being awkward. And I know she wants to stop this from going on, but she can't because she's contractually obligated to have awkward conversations with her friends and family for Matt Sharp entertainment. Once Melanie spills the beans about the ex living in the apartment down the hall, Rebecca starts to cry because she has not said this to Zied yet, and she knows that Zied is upset. Zied grabs her by the arm and then tackles her head and starts to kiss her head and like rub tangles into her hair. And it is so, every time he does this, it makes me so uncomfortable. I'm like, why can't he hug her like she's a person and not an animal? Like, she's not a dog, Zied. And I know he's just giving his support to her, but it was a lot. Rebecca pulls her head up and is just like, you know what? He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. He only has to prove something to me. He is not the same person. I also love the fact that Zied keeps on saying, like, I'm Tunisian and he's Moroccan, which makes me believe that there must be some kind of rivalry between Tunisia and Morocco. I guess it would be the same thing as someone being like, well, I'm Ukrainian and he's Estonian, so we're two different people, which does make sense. But it's so funny that he's like, so I don't understand why everyone thinks that this is going to be the same situation. And I'm like, from the American standpoint, it basically is the same situation. Young, from North Africa, doesn't speak much English, and has swept you off your feet. Zied walks away to go have a smoke. Melanie walks over to Zied and apologizes. And so he then says to Melanie, I am here now. Everybody will see if I liar or no. And Melanie is like, okay. PI Melanie is on the case. You know, she's going to be watching Zied like a hawk for the next 90 days. Now on to the big guns. We have got Brandon and Julia. Brandon meets his parents at a restaurant to talk about the situation with Julia. Brandon has decided that he's going to tell his parents that him and Julia are moving out. And so once he says that to them, all of a sudden Betty is like, why? And Brandon is like, because Julia is unhappy. Betty's like, is there something specific that's the problem? Like, we don't understand why you guys want to leave. And I said, Betty, you don't know specifically what the problem is? They literally have been telling you. Do you not know that they want to sleep in the same bedroom? Do you not know that Julia doesn't want to work on the farm? I'm so confused why Betty is confused. Brandon says, well, apparently it's because of the animals. And then that makes me mad because it's like, oh, apparently it's because of the animals? Brandon, stand on your own 2 feet. Stop blaming it on Julia. He's playing this childish game. Like, it's like a teenager's game where you like say how you're feeling, but you're also putting someone else's feelings in front of you so that it's not just all on you. And so they're like, really? It's just because of the animals? Like, she doesn't want to deal with the animals? And he's like, yeah, 50% that, and also 50% my mother, you know, being all in our business. And Betty's like, Brandon, you're my baby boy, and all I want. Come on, tears. Come on, tears. Come on. All I want It's for you to be happy and I love you. And Brandon is just looking at his mother. He just, he just sat there, okay? He just sat there. And so did Ron. He sat there too. Then Ron's like, Brandon, you need to think about this. You don't have the money to do it. And Brandon's like, I think I could manage it. And he's like, you know, you have a place to stay. You need to save up money. You want to do it the right way. Talk to Julia. Betty's like, I wanted you guys to live on the farm and I wanted to bring in a daughter-in-law and you guys, we wanted to pass this farm down to our grandkids and we just wanted this farm to be in your lives forever. And Brandon is like, that is not my dream. That's not something that I wanted. And I was really proud of him for actually saying that. So Betty says, it's not fair that she wants you to choose between us and her. You know, I didn't think it was, what can we do? And Brandon's like, well, maybe something I can bring back to her that would allow us to feel more comfortable and to stay would be if, you know, we could stay in the same room. Ron flips his white lid, okay? He is like, no, I draw the line there. There has got to be respect. You know, it's okay. I guess you guys need to go. And Brandon's like, yeah, so then, yeah, we're leaving. And Betty's like, wait. Okay, what if we think about it? And Brandon's like, well, maybe I can bring that to Julia and we'll see what she says. But we need to think about it because I don't want you guys to leave. Brandon's like, I will take it to Julia and see what she says. You guys have a nice dinner. And he says that he doesn't like to see his mother upset, but at the end of the day, he needed to put his foot down. And his parents went so far to tell him that he wasn't being a man in the relationship because he was allowing Julia to dictate his moves. But I feel like he was actually doing what he needed to do. I don't understand why they came at him about his manhood. Like, you basically want him to do what you want him to do, and then you're telling him that he's not being a man because he doesn't want to force his fiance who came from a foreign country to live in a situation that makes her uncomfortable. Betty and Ron are bananas. Oh, and I have some tea about Betty and Ron, which whole other word on the street 90 Day Fiancé spoilers video, where we're going to talk about all the tea that I found out about these couples. So Brandon and Julia are playing pool and he brings this information to Julia and Julia doesn't believe it. What's going on? Does your mother think I'm bad? And Brandon's like, well, she doesn't not think you're bad. And she's like, so Mother Betty thinks Julia bad girl, Julia not good for Brandon. And he's like just kind of skating over the issue. But the truth is, yeah, they're mad at Julia. Brandon is kind of sugarcoating it and he basically tells her that, you know, we can sleep in the same bed tonight. So the last couple that we're going to talk about is Ryan and Stephanie. Stephanie is a weirdo. So it's the next morning and Stephanie is laying in the bed with Ryan and she produces the tiniest jar of conditioner that is not for black people's hair at all and then tells him that she wants to condition his hair. Excuse me, ma'am. Get your fingers out of his hair. Then she asks him if everything is okay, and he says that everything is fine, and she wants to know why he didn't try to have sex with her last night. He was tired, her stomach hurt, her arm hurt. What's the rush? We have 2 weeks. After a bit of beating around the bush, asking him why he didn't give her at least a 2-minute bang, he's like, just ask me what you want to ask me. Stop going around the subject. And Stephanie says, well, who have you been sleeping with in the 10 months that I haven't been around you? And Ryan says, no one. Which we all know is an absolute lie. Stephanie's like, well, then why haven't you wanted to have sex with me? At some point, Ryan just stares into the camera's lens, like, if this woman don't leave me alone. Then Stephanie starts talking about this time that she threw his phone because she saw him texting another woman asking to go to Cancun. And he's like, how long ago was that? That was such a long time ago. And she's like, well, that's when we first started having our problems. And I was really tired of you texting other women and taking your shit. It was too much for me. And that's when I kicked you out and threw your phone and threw your stuff out and told you to get the hell away from me. And then I told you I'd call security if you didn't leave. He's like, yeah, and what happened after that? And she's like, well, after that, Your cousin Harris called me and I was crying so hard because of the way you treated me. And Harris came over and we spent the night together. And Ryan's like, yes, I already know that. And she's like, I just finished telling you all this stuff and you already knew. He knows a bunch of people who worked at the resort at the time and they all told him Harris was seen going into her room. Your fault because you treated me that way. And he's like, it's over with. I didn't hold it against you. Harris made me feel so special because he would tell me I was beautiful and he called me all the time and you didn't do any of those things. And Ryan was like, listen, Harris is dead to me. He is no longer my family. You are my girlfriend and I love you. And that's the way it is. We can just take this information that we both have and move forward. I was like, ooh, Ryan was just waiting for that joker. Ryan had that big joker in his hand for 3 years. So he slammed it down on the table and she had nothing to say. Because while Ryan for sure is sleeping with other women, she has no evidence of it. While she went on ahead and slept with his cousin. And it looks like later on in the season, Ryan breaks up with her and then she ends up getting back with Harris. And let me tell you, Harris is a lot better looking than Ryan. Stephanie is a sex tourist. You guys, Stephanie is just as shitty as Ed and any of these guys who go to these foreign countries to get with these people who are in relative poverty and giving them money, buying them stuff, doing all these things, and then expecting sex and love and companionship in return. And it is not anybody's fault but her own that she wasn't able to find somebody in the United States. I really do think that Stephanie has very bad self-esteem and is terrified of being in a relationship with someone who she is beholden to, who she can't control with money and gifts. And so that's why she has a boy toy in Belize. 2 boy toys in Belize. All right, you guys, so that is the end of this episode. Let me know what you thought down below. Let's have a kiki and a conversation. Don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also don't forget to check out my other channel. If you would like to donate to my SMBC journey, please see all of the information down in the comments section. And you guys have a fantastic week. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.